So I would design from 10 to 2 a.m., worst until 4, 10 to 2 a.m. So, yes, that's my design time. And then I'll get up at 5 or 6 to prepare for work.
So you're going
And
on like what, 3 hours of sleep?
yes,
So you're
for
grinding.
2 years, I was really grinding that.
Whew.
The Perspective Podcast is fuel for your mind and creative grind. Each week, my guests and I provide the skills for thinking bigger, overcoming adversity, and making an impact with your work. What's going on? You're listening to episode 124 of the Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. I'm here to help you build a killer side hustle and elevate your brand outside your day job. And at the end of each episode, I plug a listener of the week, so stick around to figure out how you can get a shout out in a future episode, in the show notes, as well as in the newsletter. And for me, I'm one who respects people who use adversity to fuel their relentless grind. And I'm also one to respect hustlers. You know, I really appreciate people who know how to put in the work. But more importantly, I'm captivated by those who know how to work smarter, not harder. But overall, I really respect people who put family and serving others first. Because in my opinion, those are the people who are going to get the breakthroughs, the money, the opportunities, and all that stuff is eventually going to come their way because they put others first. And someone who I really respect is today's guest, who falls in each one of these buckets. And I'm talking about Mye De Leon. She's a hand lettering artist, a designer, and an online marketing wizard. She's the author of the Mastering Hand Lettering book, and she's also the online professor of the free course, Styling the Alphabet. In today's episode, Mye and I go, or would it be Mye and myself, Mye and I? Today, me and Mye. Today we go over her inspiring story and the adversity her family has overcome, putting in the work and valuing your time, and knowing when to say yes and knowing when to say no, and more specifically, online digital marketing, pizza, process, pens, and more. It's going to be dope. It's going to be great. But overall, I want this episode to fire you up to start taking yourself, your work, your side hustle more seriously as you elevate your brand and career to that next level. You can find everything that Mye and I, there it is again, you can find everything we talk about in the show notes over at perspective-collective.com/124. And do what you do best. If you found value in today's episode, then please do me a favor, share this episode with your following, with your friends, tag Mye and I on Instagram, share it on your Instagram stories, a screenshot of you working or a video of you listening to this in the background. Share it, tag us, and I will reshare it to show the love back. You scratch mine, I will scratch yours. It's because of you that this show keeps growing. It's because you keep sharing, and you know I love you for it. And as always, keep an open mind and act on anything that inspires you today. Let's go. PC family, we have Mye De Leon all the way from Singapore today, and 13 plus hours ahead of me, so it's great that we can make this work. Mye, welcome to the Perspective Podcast. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for inviting me, Scotty. So excited to be here. I've been listening to your podcast since you started it, and it's been great to be on the show with you.
I
And
remember
it's finally nice to meet you.
finally, we're e-meeting for the first time too. So I believe you sent me an email. It was probably like maybe 2 years ago, responded to my email newsletter or something. I think that was like how we initially started a dialogue, and then through Instagram and so on. And now you're here crushing it full-time, doing your thing, lettering, designer, badass mom. Yes, it's great. So for those who may not know you in this world right now, give us a brief Wikipedia page summary about yourself, and then we're just going to jump into the meat of everything.
Okay, so my name is Mye De Leon, of course, and I'm a hand lettering artist, a freelance lettering artist. But now I'm mostly focused on teaching other people how I do what I do, and then transforming those creative adventures into a profitable business. So that's what I do now. And I'm also a full-time mom. And I have 3 kids. So I have twin daughters, and one of them, my youngest is a boy, and he was born with Down syndrome. So that's kind of the challenge that we had to go through over the years. So there. And I'm also very open and very vocal about sharing all of the things that I know about hand lettering and sharing it with everybody who wants to learn about it. That's why I created also my free course, which I shared with everyone.
Yes, and that's why you're here. I'm all about transparency, providing as much value as possible. And honestly, you're like the perfect candidate from the show. I've been studying you. I've been watching what you've been doing behind the scenes, and I want to be here to celebrate you and put you in the spotlight. So before you took and made that leap to the full time, from side hustle to full time career of doing this, how did you transform your side hustle of hobby? Your how did you get into it? How did you get into lettering in the first place? And what was your day job before then? How were you making
Okay.
time to pursue all this?
Okay. So I was in a corporate where I was an IT girl. So I graduated in engineering, and then I worked for several different companies until I worked for a Fortune 500 company when I was an infrastructure lead. So from IT, uh, I think my twin daughters were about 2 years old back then that I started working again, and I discovered a post, an Instagram post from a former colleague, and it is about digital scrapbooking. So I find it very interesting because you can just, you don't have to have all those clutter of scrapbooking, and you can do it digitally, and it really transformed how I viewed about memory keeping and such, because I love documenting everything that has been going through, especially when I have my twin daughters. It what For them it was already a challenge because I gave birth to them prematurely at 31 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they were very tiny, and I want to document their growing up years. So I was attracted to memory keeping and digital scrapbooking. So it started from there, and then eventually I was able to get into creative teams of designers, and from there I have realized that I don't want to be on a creative team forever. I want to, if I'm spending a lot of money, because other than that, I'm also spending a lot of money buying digital scrapbook products.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm buying that, I might as well find something or some way to monetize it. And that's when I started dabbling into Photoshop and learning how to design patterns and embellishments, until eventually in 2009, I landed my first design gig. So I opened my first digital scrapbook product at um, this site called My Life and Scrap. And from there, I went from one store to another until I landed with different other stores. And I reached a point where I sold for 4 stores. So selling for 4 stores was
Stores.
challenging.
Yes.
Online stores, they're
Okay.
mostly online stores,
Like a
because
creative
these,
market kind of thing, or
yes,
okay.
something like that. So for these stores, you need to have a unique product for that store, specific store, every week. So I have been creating nonstop, and I'm still working for with my day job. So every time we would arrive at home around 9 or 10 p.m. because traffic is worse in Manila. So
So
from
are you in
then,
Singapore? Sorry, am I correct?
right now I'm in Singapore, but
Okay.
we were in Manila back
Okay.
then.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I had
So
it right.
right now we're in Singapore, but we're moving back to Manila. So
All
I'm
right.
here just
Perfect.
to finalize things
Sorry to
out. And
interrupt you on that.
no, it's totally fine. So back then we were in Manila and traffic is worse, so we get home late. The children are already sleeping. So I would design from 10 to 2 a.m., worst until 4, 10 to 2 a.m. So, yes, that's my design time. And then I'll get up at 5 or 6 to prepare for work.
So you're going
And
on like what, 3 hours of sleep?
yes,
So you're
for
grinding.
2 years, I was really grinding that
Whew.
hustle. So, and luckily for me, traffic is worse in the morning too. So my husband is driving and I'm just there sleeping in the car.
Okay. Catch a couple little bit more.
So
Wow.
yes, so probably that's 1 to 2 more hours of sleep in the morning. So that's how my life was back then. But even then, because I was earning US dollars, so I'm earning more
Yeah.
than I was doing with my full-time job, because when it's translated to Philippine money, it's 50 pesos for
It's a
$1.
big
Yes,
difference, right? Yeah.
that is huge. And wages back there is not that great. So me earning dollars is so much more.
Yeah.
So eventually, after 2 years, we had a good talk, my husband and I, and then I left my corporate job and focused on digital scrapbooking. And that was also the time that he was given an opportunity to work in Singapore. So we moved here with him because I can work whenever, wherever when my job is online. So I continued
So digital scrapbooking
scrapbooking.
for yourself though, like full-time employed by yourself, or for still another business?
For a store, but they only get like, depending on a store, they could get 20% commission. So I still have the biggest chunk of money
Okay,
for
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's a big
And
chunk.
I was earning about $2,000 to $3,000 every month back then. And
Wow.
that was what year? 2010 to 2011,
Yeah.
something like that. Yes. That's big when translated to Philippine pesos.
It's like
So
double the
there,
amount pretty much.
more,
More. Five
more.
times? So you were
um,
balling.
yeah. So it's like three, four times of what I was earning in the Philippines. So
Wow.
that's better. So it's a no-brainer. I left my day job and then moved with my husband here in Singapore. And then we found out that I was pregnant with my third child. So that was Alphonse. And he was born with Down syndrome. So he has special needs, and we were not ready for it. So
I don't
that
think
was,
anybody is.
yes. I did not have the, what do you call that test? The amniocentesis. I always forget the term. It's called amniocentesis, and I opted out of that because I never want to learn if he has um, Down
Beforehand.
syndrome. Yes, beforehand. And who knew that it's really possible? So, um, and that was the start of the challenging journey that we had, because after I gave birth to him, my husband and my husband and my children left for Singapore. I delivered in the Philippines. It's it's way cheaper there.
Yeah.
So I gave birth to him in the Philippines, and then they moved back to Singapore, my husband and two kids, and they were about to start their primary school. So we cannot let them not have that. So my mother-in-law flew with them, and she was the one who's taking care of the girls. I was left in the Philippines with Alphonse because he had to have an open heart surgery at 6 weeks old. So he had that.
Wow.
And yes, that was very challenging. And but the good thing about that is we don't have enough money back then. We were just starting our life in Singapore, and um, we don't have enough for the surgery. It cost us about $25,000. We were quoted that amount, and my husband is already thinking about selling the house, selling the car, selling everything that we have just to give him the surgery. And I was like, I don't know. I'm the kind of person who thinks, who knows how to make good money.
You know how to
So
hustle and
it,
provide, put
it's
bacon,
kind of
bring home the
in
bacon.
my, yes, it's in my DNA, probably because I grew up in a family with we own a bakery. So I'm a business person from since birth. So there. And I told him to wait. Can you just wait for a while? Just let me calm down, because I'm taking this all in, and it's draining me at the time. I've been crying and crying and crying for days. And I just told him, can you just pause for a while? Just let me think. And I told him that I have an online shop. So I would sell products and I would sell services. So back then, I'm not just designing scrapbook products, I'm also designing websites. So it's not super coding in terms of those kinds of things, but
WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, kind of like.
yes, a
Yeah.
simple WordPress with the themes, and then just simple tweaking up. That's the kind of thing that I do back then. But it brought in a good amount of money. And when I told my store, one of my store owners back then, I was back when I gave birth to him, I'm already exclusive in one store, so I'm only selling in one store. And I told her that I won't be able to design for the store for this period of time because I gave birth to my son and he needed surgery. And she told me, "How can we help?" And I don't know what I told her. I don't actually know what I told her. I don't remember, but she offered to help. And that after that she created this ginormous scrapbook kit that she sold.
Like a bundle?
It's a mega bundle.
Mega bundle on steroids.
I think there were about, I don't know if it's 100 or 200 designers who put in their contributions for that. There were that many designers who contributed to the product, and we sold it for $20, and we sold about $7,000 for that.
Damn.
Yes, she gave me all of it. And then I also put my own shop, scrapbook shop, on sale, and I generated $5,000 from that because at first I offered my services, my website services, my scrapbook on sale, but the people, I didn't even realize it. The people are way kinder than they are. They know that when they purchase a product from my store would take a percentage of that, and PayPal too would take a percentage of the money. So they offered to give the money directly to me. So what's your PayPal address? Do you have any this and that kind of thing? We want to give you the money directly instead of going through your store. So I did give them the email address. And then I have this friend, Diane Rigdon. She told me about Indiegogo.
Yeah.
It's a crowdfunding site. And I don't know about crowdfunding back then. So she told me, maybe you can try this one. And I did. And it's really heartwarming that a lot of people reached out to us. And when I told them about the story, so Facebook was new then.
So this would have been
I
like
don't 2012.
2000. Oh, well, say.
I'm new to Facebook.
Wait, no. Yeah, Facebook came out 2010-ish. Never mind. 2006, I was in high school. When I was going into my college, Facebook just came out, and that would have been, crap, that was like 2006. But go on. I'm interrupting you.
Yeah, I don't know. I was late, pretty late joining Facebook. So it was 2012, and I shared it on Facebook. So it's there. Everybody just shared it. So there were a lot of people in the community who shared it, who contributed, and who donated for the surgery, and we generated about 11,800 from the crowdfunding. Excuse me. So that the 7,000 from the charity kit that they gave for Alphonse, and then my store, which is $5,000.
You covered it.
Yes, we did. $25,000, and a lot of there were still direct deposits that's coming to the bank account. So we covered it. We generated 1.1 million pesos. So that's more or less $25,000. And he was able to have his surgery in 2013, February 14. So he is kind of my Valentine.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've been through some stuff. Like you've dealt with some adversity. That's just like a chapter in your story, and it seems like that's fuel on the fire for what you're doing today. When did like lettering come into the mix, and when did you start building your empire through like Instagram and put out your book? Like how did all this come into play? And
Okay,
I want to get into the nitty-gritty of the business. Like I want to talk about Pinterest. I want to talk about how you get down on your email marketing, your courses. Like you have that business bone, and a lot of us don't. And I think that's where you can really shed some value for us.
Okay, so first, the hand lettering came in because I was already doing scrapbooking. I need to be in the computer. But when I gave birth to him and eventually we moved to Singapore, 3 months after, we moved March then. So I think 2 weeks after his surgery, 2 or 3 weeks after the surgery, we moved back to Singapore. And we were doing fine. I wasn't creating much, but eventually it got through me. So, when you're a mother, and they say that your family or your children can take everything away from you. So I have not been doing anything creatively over years. And it's kind of driving me insane. So it's the saddest part of my life. So seeing my children growing up, but not being able to do something for myself, I didn't know that it can be taxing and it can be draining as well as a mother. And I always believe that you cannot give what you don't have. So if I don't love myself, I cannot love my family back the way I want them to be loved and the way that I want to give them the best of me. So um
I agree. You can't make someone else happy if you're not
if you're
making
not
yourself.
happy,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. So true.
And during the time, Alphonse likes to sleep or take a nap 2 to 4 hours in a day, and I will just be there sitting with him because he doesn't want to be separated from me. I think the trauma came from me handing him over to the surgeon for a series of testing. So from there on, he doesn't want to be left behind. So that's where it came from. So since then, I have to stay with him on the couch. He's taking naps in the couch, and I'll be there. That's when I discovered Criminal Minds on cable. So I will be there watching TV, and it's like, what am I doing with my life? I can't even do anything because whenever I get up and go to the computer, he'll be crying and be irritated and wake up again. So that's 2 to 4 hours of my precious time that I want to probably rest or do something. So I leveraged on those hours that he's sleeping. And instead of watching TV, well, I still watch TV. And instead of just doing nothing, I got a grid notebook.
Like a moleskin kind of thing.
No, it's just a very cheap. It's a Japanese notebook. We have a shop here called Muji, and it's a grid notebook. And I have a 05 Pigma
Yeah,
micron
yeah.
with a micron, and then I have a pencil. So I have a pencil eraser, the Pigma micron, and I
Everything
just
you need.
started.
Everything you need.
Yes, it's just that you don't need anything fancy at all to start to begin with.
Mhm.
So I don't even have a ruler. So it's just that. So I started drawing letters, and I don't know where to even begin. So I thought of doing, maybe I should do the alphabets. So I did the alphabets one letter at a time. So it's like a couple of variations of letters every single day. And I started posting it on Instagram. And who knew everybody likes letters? I didn't know.
What year would this have been?
That was 2014, early
Like
2014.
right when I was getting into the mix.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That's about the time that I discovered you, Stefan. Uh, During those early times, we were still liking each other's posts, and now, yes, it's funny. I still remember when we all started back that
Yeah.
time.
Seeing
Yes,
everybody just grow, and then
yes,
which different paths they took it. It became just a hobby. And now I'm seeing everybody making like businesses, going their own
yes,
ways and growing differently. It's pretty dope.
yes.
We're like
And
the
it's
phase
exciting as
two
well.
of letters. We're like the phase
Mhm.
two. The first ones were like Eric Marinovich and Jessica Hish, and now
Yes,
we were the
yes.
second wave.
The second wave. True, true.
Mhm.
And then after that, so I was doing letters, and from letters I drew words and then phrases. The phrases, oh my god, they're quite ugly. But
Humble
yeah, that's
beginnings. Humble beginnings.
back then we thought that's already great
Yeah.
because we're just beginning and we were able to finish a phrase. Well, that's awesome. And then eventually 6 months after, I got a DM from the CEO of Mini Lou Kids. So they're kind of a small business in Utah where they produce coloring books for children. So they offered me, they asked if I can do an alphabet coloring book. Because I was doing the alphabets, I didn't know that it attracted that kind of a client. So they wanted an alphabet coloring book for a change. And I was given a 4-month timeline to finish everything. So we're gonna have alphabets, and then illustrations that accompany those letters. So like A for apple. So I need to have some illustrations that contain it starts with a letter, every letter of the alphabet that I was asked to do. So I drew 10 letters, I think 10 variations of each letter, and of course the illustration. And I did that during the 2 to 4 hour window that my son is taking a nap day every day. So that's the only time that I have.
And you were
So
only
I
4 months into lettering and you got hit up for this?
6 months, yes,
6 months into lettering?
Yes, yes.
This isn't normal, people. People who are listening, this isn't normal.
Well, I partially know, I knew the owner from a store that I was selling because we were both scrapbook designers, but she's venturing into other business. So she kind of been following me on Instagram as well. So
Ah,
I think she's been watching on the sidelines,
it's
and
it's
that's
it's
how.
always comes back to who you know. Who you know.
Yes.
And then the skills
Hard with,
pay the
yes.
bills. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
luck is when
It's
preparation meets opportunity. So you're lucky, but you busted your ass. You went through adversity and put yourself in these positions. So this was just like the first sign that you're going down the right path of pursuing lettering. This was just the first little omen, right?
Yeah, and I think she knows that I have my son with me, so I was given a pretty decent timeline, 4 months
Can I
to
ask?
finish.
Can I ask, or did you have to sign an NDA? What did something like this for your first job pay?
It was royalty.
Royalties. So it was all solely off royalties.
Yes,
Okay.
royalties. I didn't know back then that you needed an advance pay for
Like
licensing
some
and
kind of
such.
deposit and everything.
Yes, I
Okay,
didn't
okay.
know.
So it was a
I
good
didn't
learning
know back then.
experience.
Yes, that was a good learning experience, but it was also an adventure for me. So, yep, but to get a royalty deal the first time for a first project is kind of a big deal for me. And I
Yeah,
know them,
great
and
starting
they were
point.
a great company. And yes, yep, we did great, and we had a great relationship. And that's the start of the first. That's the start of the first project, and it's a coloring book. It's just a mini coloring book, like this thin, but the project was like the whole collection was this.
How many
So
hours do
when
you think
it's,
you put into that? Just guesstimate.
I don't know, because it's 2 to 4 hours in a day, so it varies depending on how my son
4 months.
wants. Yes, 4 months, and I can only digitize because we don't have iPad
So
in the
yeah, you drew it
2000.
all analog first, and then did you have to
Yes,
scan it in or take a photo and bump the contrast and levels up in Photoshop or something like that?
yes, I did everything in
The old school
pencil.
lettering ways
Yes,
before the
old school
iPads
way.
came out. Yes, yes, yes. The analog.
And then I have to scan everything, and uh the only time I can digitize is during the weekend when my husband is not working and he can look after the children. So
And
when
your
it's
husband's all in.
digitizing,
Is your husband all in backing you up too? Like supporting you?
yes, he is. He is
Shout
very
out to the
supportive from the
husbands
start.
supporting the hustling women out there. My wife supports me and I grind my ass off, but family's important. But shout out to your husband.
Yes, he is the one who really made everything happen. Because if not for his sacrifice, I mean, he also has a creative thing he wants to pursue. Back then, he likes photography, but he said you can go and do what you want first
That's
and deal with
incredible.
your feeling. Yes, and
Make sure
he
he
really did
listens
a
to this
big
shout out right
sacrifice.
here. Make sure he
He
hears it.
will, he will
Okay, good for
definitely,
him. That's
because now
awesome.
he's part of the business.
Yes.
We'll go to that later
Yes.
on. Okay, and from then on, after that project came out and after I've been posting on Instagram, I got a ton more increase, client increase. Incredible, right? But I still started from the scrapbooking industry. So Karina Gardner, the CEO of Mina Lou, is a scrapbook designer as well. And then the next project that I got, I forgot. And then there was another project, and then there was Project Life, which is also a scrapbook from American Crafts. Becky Higgins and American Crafts. And I did a mini kit for them. So it has a lot of letterings and also designs. And I was paid generously for that as well. That's why I knew that at the very beginning, even if you're just starting, you can be paid well. That was the leverage that I had because I didn't have enough time. So I only get clients who will really pay me well. And I had to say no to a lot of a few
Okay.
dollar increase.
Yeah.
Yes. I had to say no to a lot of them.
$100
Even
t-shirt design.
yes. I didn't say yes to them because I would rather spend that time being with my kid and doing other things and honing my craft instead of lowballing myself. I
Yep.
knew that early on from those experience that I had.
Well, you have that business background. Plus, you had some skin in the game in digital online marketing before. Like so many don't have that business savvy acumen.
Yeah. So I that's why I have been telling and I've been preaching that you can also get high paying clients even if you're just beginning. But of course you have to hone your craft.
Yeah.
It took me a while to really get into the groove and finding my style. But even then, I didn't accept low paying clients. I only got, the clients who will really pay me well. And after that, I had collaborations with Working Networking. So we had the Pinterest project, and um, I got a couple more offers from publishing companies. So I have this project from Australia where I designed a book cover for presentation. And from that project, I was introduced to another agent, and I was invited to create a book called the Great Big Book of Amazing Creative Hand Lettering, something like that. The title is very long, but it was with four other letterers. I think I don't know how to pronounce, Jay Reuter was
Mhm.
part of that. Was part of that book, and but I said no at first. I said no because one, I will be given a flat fee,
No royalties or anything.
no royalties or anything. And second, I told them that I have plans of doing my own book.
Had you
So
already gotten the whole lead, the mastering hand lettering?
no, not yet.
Okay.
Back then, it was just in my head.
Okay.
I just want to do a book. So I'm planning to have my own book. So I don't have any idea back then what I will be doing. And then they said, but the client really wanted you. So because I have a history with Hinkler books, so could you do this? And then after that, we can talk about your book. So I was taken aback. So who who would be getting another job when they just turned down a job?
Yeah.
It's really funny, and I thought that was a scam. It's internet, so who knew if it's true or not? But um, I was given a contract, and I was asked to sign it, and yeah, it's true. So that's how the book happened.
And the
So
book
I
name is
created
what?
Mastering Hand Lettering.
All right, because we're gonna plug that in the show notes. If you got an affiliate link, will you shoot that my way too? If just like through
Of
Amazon.
course, of course.
Okay. We know about the affiliate link.
Yeah, you can have that too. You can use yours if you want.
No, we're gonna use yours.
Okay, so yeah, so I did the book, and then eventually after that, I worked on my book. So I stopped getting clients for a while, and I focused on the book. But then when we finally started with it, we were traveling to Japan. So I had to travel. I was given a 4 month timeline to finish. Everybody wants 4 months.
I know.
So I was given, and with a book, you know that you need about a year to finish it. So I was given 4 months. This has to happen because we have this blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, so I'm pretty much good about time pressure as well. So
Mm-hmm.
so I did it, and we were traveling to Japan, and I lost 2 weeks because I was traveling, and then when I came back, I don't feel like doing anything creative at all. I'm so
Worn out.
exhausted. Yes. So basically, I lost a 1 month. So I did the book technically for 3 months. And those were all nighters, 3 months of sleeping until 4 a.m. and then waking up around 9 or 8. Luckily, now, when I did the book, we have somebody who helps me with the kids already. So we hired, since we're in Singapore, we can hire foreign domestic workers. So she takes care of my children in the day and attends to their needs when they need to go to school. So we were able to afford that.
I want to, since we're kind of already hit on this topic, I want to make sure I get this question in real quick. This one comes from Ma Alina Karagay
Mhm.
Bartolome. Elena
Uh-huh.
is just way easier, but she says, how does Mye make this work? Being a mom of 3, one with special needs, and running her business at the same time, she's an inspiration to moms like me. Okay, you're kind of already setting it up. I want to make sure I get this in here. So grinding,
We have,
putting in the
yes.
work, all nighters, those 2 to 4 hours of grinding, but like, how do you make it work now?
At first, I only leveraged on the time that my son was sleeping and my kids are in school. That's how we did it for a year.
And
One
you
year. We
busted
did
your
it for a
ass when
year.
you were tired. You
Yes.
worked when it wasn't convenient.
Yes. So for a year, it was like that situation until my husband told me, maybe it's time we get someone to help you with the kids in the house in the
Like a
morning so
nanny
that
kind
you
of
can.
thing, or
Yes, it's kind of a nanny there, but for us, she lives with us, so she stays with us, and she sleeps with the girls, with the girls, and she takes care of their needs and clean the house and do the laundry, cook for them, cook for us. But most of the time, I'm cooking as well. So, and then that's why I can do all-nighters and sleep
okay.
in a couple more hours in a day because I already have someone. We can already afford to hire someone who can take care of the children. And it's compared to the US, I think it's pretty much more affordable in Singapore, but it's way, way more affordable in the
Oh, I'm sure.
Philippines.
Um,
Yes, yes.
from a business aspect, I really want to know how you utilize social media like a boss. We know this. We all know this. But how
I
important is
You
things like,
think?
I mean, you've built an audience, you've attracted clients from it. You have dope lead magnets that always pop up on my Instagram about promoting how to sign up for your email list. But how important
Email.
has Pinterest been? Because I see you on Pinterest. I was really hard into Pinterest, but I've been so busy with video on the podcast lately that Pinterest is kind of taking the back seat. But how big has Pinterest been, and how do you utilize it? And how well, or how big has email marketing been? Because you're not only a hand letterer, you're an online marketer at your core. You know, hand
Yes.
lettering is just the vehicle you drive, but you have to learn so many other tactics. So like, how do you utilize Pinterest, and how important is email marketing in your lead magnets, which is like your free course, free to plug?
Yes.
Setting you up
For
here.
Yes, email marketing is my number one
Email marketing is
tool
number
for
one.
business. Email marketing. So email list. I always
Why is
tell
email
people
not
to
dead, and why is email so valuable to you?
email is valuable because it's something that you own. So we don't own social media. So like by the time Instagram just realized that they have to purge all of these accounts, and then you realize you've your following has plummeted, and they could change the algorithm and you will be affected by it, or they could just totally shut down and you will lose all of those followers.
Did you deal with
So
Instagram and Facebook shutting down? This, we're speaking in the past right now, but basically Instagram and Facebook were down yesterday, Wednesday. I couldn't even get the podcast episode out on Instagram because of that. But luckily I had
yes,
I
yes,
own an email that I
had
own that I can still get the podcast out.
yes, that's true. And so that's why it's powerful. And I've been using my email list. I know about email list since I was in scrapbooking.
Yeah.
So I
Had you
have
been building
my,
it then?
yes.
And what's
So
your
when I,
platform of choice?
I was using MailChimp before,
Mm-hmm.
and then I signed up to Aweber
Mm-hmm.
eventually, and now I'm using Infusionsoft.
Oh shit, you're on the big platform now. That's a big learning curve on Infusionsoft. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
taking you
it's
serious.
Confusionsoft.
And Confusionsoft, yes, yes. Do you have someone helping you with that, or did you have to take training?
I didn't I had to wing it the first time, but it's really that hard. So I had to call in the support every couple of minutes just to arrange all the sequence of the campaigns that I will be running. So I have that. The support is enough for me, but it's really it's mind blowing. The system is totally different than Mailchimp and Aweber and
And
ConvertKit.
it's not so designer friendly though, but you just have like
It's
way
not.
more customization and control over what you want, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So now that I can afford it, I already hired someone to do it for me.
Awesome.
Yes. So, but I also informed my husband to, you can just learn these things. You're the tech guy. We should be doing this stuff. So he's been on the learning curve and transitioning into the business
So
since he
email is
just,
number one of
yes,
producing income for you
yes, it is. It is. It is. So
in terms of
I,
courses
in terms
or
everything, courses, yes, it is. For clients, most of my clients come from Instagram.
so you're still
They
doing
find me
freelance
there.
on the side, or are you full-time in on building your online marketing empire, kind of like Becca Cortis, our friend, the Happy Ever Crafter is?
Oh, um, last year I did that both when I
You did both.
introduced my lettering mentorship, but that was a mentorship. It's totally different. With the Mastering Hand Lettering course, I focused on the course. So I stopped doing client work since August. But I can't say no to one client that came in later in the year. It's Penguin Random House. Who says no to Penguin Random House?
Not I.
So, especially when the
For your own book or a book cover?
no, it's book covers and chapter covers. So
Cool.
it's a kind of a different thing. But yes, I can't say no to them. So
If
I
it's
did the
if
project.
it's not a
I
hell
love
yes,
it.
it's a hell yeah, it's a hell no. So it's a hell yes.
Yes, and I saw the project and I saw that what I have to do, and I just got really excited for it. And when your heart is pumping like it's
Yeah.
racing, and you're excited to do this, it's a big yes. So it's a yes for me. So I took it. So I'm doing that on the side, and the course as well. So we were building the course, and for the course I pre-sold it. It's the first thing that I did. I pre-sold the course. So before even had the course, I sold it to a lot of people in my email list. I sold the idea because I don't want to build a course and then
There's no
eventually hear
there's no
crickets
interest behind it.
after
Yeah.
and no sales. So I spent a lot of time and I invested in a lot of marketing, and then there was no sales. So I had to pre-sell it. So during that time, we sold a couple, not a couple. We sold a lot, and we made 5 figures for that. And
In how many days?
my, 1 week, just 1 week. We
1
just
week.
sold it for 1 week for how I'm trying to remember how many
Was
were
it
in
just
my
one
list.
price, or was there like a tiered pricing? You get access to like.
Tiered pricing.
Okay,
So
but you're
there
trying
is
to
a
funnel
special
people to that.
offer.
Trying to funnel people to that middle option kind of thing.
I don't have them. I only have 2 tier price.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the full price and then the 3 month
Oh,
plan.
okay. Payment plan kind of thing.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the only tier that I have. And well, after that, I released it to 8,000 subscribers, email subscribers. So I only have 8,000 back then. And
What are you at
when
today?
I'm
You can
17,
17. And how
yes.
and what's your money lead magnet? What's your best way of building an email list? Let's get some tactical tips real quick. What are
My
your
hand lettering course, my free hand lettering course.
and
When I
that's
did that,
yeah.
I did that because that's the very thing that I did at first. I started from alphabets, and I think it's the missing link. So it's also the same thing that I did for the book. When I did the book, I searched, and everybody has hand lettering books. They all have these processes and this um everything, but there's the how is not there. There's the what, but the how it's missing. So I leveraged on that how, and I put it in my book so that everybody can learn from how to start with letters, because I started with letters, and that's what I put in there. And technically, the hand lettering course, it's also the book. Just it's in videos and it has more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
So
going
that's
where the interest is, what you're good at, what you love to do, and where's the market. And my friends, that is a sweet spot I continue to talk about. And you do
yes,
more of what
and
works. You listen to what people want.
yeah, I kind of yes, because I started from there also. So I realized this is not the thing that everybody offers, and this is the thing that people need.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know who you're serving, that's the kind of thing. When you know who you're serving, you know what to offer. So I know that I am serving a lot of newcomers in the hand lettering industry. So I know that they would want to learn how to letter. But even seeing all of these pretty hand lettering, they can still find it confusing to start and begin with hand lettering and learning from it. So I offer that as a free course. And Becca was telling me, Becca, the Happy Ever Crafter, you're giving this for free. So yeah, it's a 72 page a free course wherein you can just hand letter one letter every day and go from there. Learn all of the techniques and yeah.
I'll be sure to plug all of that. So we got to respect the time and keep moving forward real quick. I wish we could have like an hour and a half. There's so many questions I want to ask you, but we got to keep
Sure,
it
you can
time.
just fire away.
Yeah. All right. Before we go to rapid fire question, what's one piece of advice you give to your past self when you were just starting off?
I would say for my past self, I would say whatever comes your way, just keep on doing the thing that you love doing most and do it with patience and integrity, of course. So yeah, patience is really, really very important because in this time and era where, everybody wants instant gratification, patience is everything we need to succeed in this industry. It doesn't, you don't get to be successful overnight. It happens gradually and with a lot of consistency and grit and, of course, tenacity.
Yeah. What about integrity? Why is integrity to you, and why is that baked into the core of your brand, and how has that been seen in your sales and your raving fans?
Because when you're online, you could be anybody, and it's hard to deal with anybody. It's hard to trust someone. So for me, it's important because for people to buy from me, make business with me, do business with me, they need to know and trust me.
Like, know, and
So
trust.
yes, like no like and trust. So it's very vital that I do business with integrity and I deal with everybody with utmost courtesy and kindness. And even if I'm growing already and I still get these emails from a lot of people and DMs, I still respond to every one of them. I don't take them lightly. Customer service for me, so if everybody might, a lot of people might agree with me here, but for me, learning and coming from a business perspective and growing up in a family business, for me, customer is the king.
Yeah.
Customer is king. So a lot of people have been telling me, no, customer is not always right. No, customer is the king.
That's who's
You won't be
putting
existing
food on your table.
without them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Love it. Awesome answer. All right, rapid fire. If you were on death row, what would your last slice of pizza be?
Oh, pepperoni.
Just plain pepperoni.
Pepperoni,
Hey, when we meet each other
yes.
in person, we're gonna have a slice together. All right.
Yes, you could be like my daughters love pepperoni
Oh, we would get along so well.
Yes.
If you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
John Contino, maybe?
Yeah.
I love John's style. It's really awesome and mind-blowing. I love that it's unique and it has character on its own. It really stands out. I can spot a John Contino piece from a mile away.
So we're speaking in the future. We're speaking in the future. Currently, he's in the process of scheduling an episode, which should be out like the week before yours, and he'll be at Crop. So I'll finally get to like meet him, shoot the shit, and yes. So that's awesome. That's so cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this should be coming out. Perfect timings for people to go back and listen to his episode. That's
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That worked out perfect. Thank you. What's your go-to lettering weapon of choice?
Pencil.
Do you have a fancy one now that you use, like a lead holder, or are you just a mechanical pencil kind of gal?
Yeah, lead holder.
Yeah.
It's basically my pencil, my lead holder, and the lead. Yeah, it's my favorite. The lead holder, the Staedtler Mars Technical lead holder.
Yeah,
that's it. I call it my pencil.
For sure. And that's like whenever I would use that a lot before I got heavy into digital, everybody's like, what pencil is that? So Awesome.
Yes.
We'll have to link
Until
that
now,
in
I
the
still
show notes,
get
too.
that questions.
All right. Shoot me the affiliate link if you'd like that too. This will all be in the show
Sure.
notes. All right. Cats or dogs? I've been asking this one lately. I love it. I like to know what people think. It's been dogs.
Dogs. I'm not a cat person.
We're not friends anymore. I take my
Yeah.
pizza pack with me.
I
No,
had
that's cool.
cats, but I'm allergic. So
Okay.
dogs it
That's an
is.
excuse. That's good. Okay. Where do you get your inspiration online and offline?
Mostly offline. I
Like
don't
where?
look. Yes. When going to the park, traveling, taking pictures of things that I find interesting, like when I see a building and the pattern interests me, I would translate it into, I would break it down and build the basic structure, and then I could turn letters from it. So something like that. I'm
Awesome.
weird.
No,
And
I think that's
online,
incredible.
I try to avoid looking at a lot of people online. It overwhelms me, and I can't take it. There was
Agreed.
a point in my life when I had to follow everybody that I was following just so I could focus on myself and my growth.
Yep. Curate who you
Yes.
follow, and otherwise, there's too many people just regurgitating the same stuff they see all over
I know,
Instagram. It's
yes.
so annoying. I can't even pick out certain people's style anymore because everybody else is doing the same thing. So
Yes.
thank you
You
for
have
being
got to
true to
stay in
yourself.
your lane.
Stay in your own lane for sure. Real quick, how much value has Pinterest brought to you? I wanted to dive deeper into Pinterest, but we didn't get to it today. But is Pinterest a big game changer in terms of traffic? Would you recommend Pinterest to everyone?
Yes, yes, yes.
Why?
Pinterest is a big, you don't treat it as a social media platform. Pinterest is a search engine. So you have to treat it as a search engine. You have to show images that are compelling and show images that are vertical
Yeah.
so that it translates well with a Pinterest algorithm. And of course, use descriptions with
Rich keywords.
SEO. Yes, keywords.
Yep.
Yes, rich keyword. And please, if you are on Pinterest, turn it into a business instead of a personal Pinterest
Rich
account,
pins,
because
all that good stuff.
yes, it's all
Yep.
those rich pins.
Yeah,
And
you're killing it.
if you can focus on that, it's better to schedule Pinterest pins than going into the black hole
Do
itself.
you use Tailwind or
I use Tailwind to
do you
schedule out
schedule
my
how
posts.
much time do you put in a week to schedule out your pins?
An hour, a
That's
couple of
it?
minutes sometimes, yes, couple of minutes sometimes, and then I'll schedule. Um, yes, that's it. I don't stay on Pinterest, but sometimes when I do, because you also have to log in manually and pin something for
Mhm.
yourself, you don't have to rely on Tailwind. But yes,
Have you
it's
noticed a big increase in traffic? Finding your
big, huge.
yeah,
Before, my major traffic comes from Facebook and Instagram. Now it's from Pinterest. It
incredible.
is really incredible.
We could have a total other episode just talking about this.
Of course, if you want, yes.
All right, cool. That's pretty cool. All right, last one. Where can people go to follow you online and support you?
Okay, so I have my website. It's myedeleon.com. Everything is there. The free course, the paid course, and all of the free stuff. So I have also an Instagram freebie and 2 lettering freebies, and a
Are those
couple of
lead
other freebies.
magnets?
Yes,
Killing
a
it.
couple of other.
We could have a whole episode on league magnets and Pinterest. All right, the two big
Of
things I need to get
course,
into. Email is going to be big for me this year, so that's awesome.
you have to focus on that if you really want to dive deep into the business side of things. Email
Mhm.
it is.
Awesome. Well, we sincerely appreciate your time. I know you haven't been feeling the greatest, so I appreciate you fighting through it and getting through it and just
No, it's
taking time to
okay.
be here with
Totally
today
fine.
and share us with your value and share your story. I've been dying to get to know you and hear your story, so I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Yes, and I'm so sorry I was so talkative that
Oh, we're good.
we
We're
missed
good.
a lot of topics.
Oh, we'll have a round 2 if you'd like to be on. You're an official
It's
guest of the
totally
podcast,
fine.
official
Yes.
friend of the podcast. Well, thank you again. We'll keep in touch. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
PC family, Mye De Leon, you absolutely blew me away today. Not only is your story incredibly inspiring, your work ethic is admirable, but your online business savvy skills and acumen is extremely impressive. Like, I am very impressed right now. There's a lot that I need to learn from you, and I'd love to have you on in a future episode so we can dive a little bit deeper into this online marketing and really distill all the tactics that I can then share with the listeners, because I know We appreciate the hell out of it. So if you're sitting here listening and you found value in what Mye had to say today, do what you always do. Do what you do best. Go and blow her up right now. Show her some love over on social media and let her know what your biggest takeaway was. And there's other ways you can support her too by buying her book, Mastering Hand Lettering, as well as her online free course at myedeleon.com/free-course. Go and sign up for all this today. Mye, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate the hell out of you. You rock. And if you find yourself on an island and desperately seeking some kind of like-minded community of people who are doing the same shit that you're doing, well, I got something for you, okay? Go on Facebook or go in the links below and go to the Perspective-Collective. All right, this is the online private creator community that I've been building slowly over the last year, and I only plug it on the podcast because I want the right people here. We got people all over the world sharing their work, providing resources, providing feedback, and collaborating. It's truly incredible, and we would love to have you be a part of the family. And if you're finding value in the show, there are 2 ways you can support and give back. The first is by financially supporting the show over at patreon.com/perspectivepodcast. And there's some reward tiers right there depending on what you want to pledge and back. But you could be like Iron Bee Coffee Company, go on one of the higher tiers, and then you get a shout out in every episode. And I'm actually drinking from one of their mugs right now. Shout out to Iron Bee Coffee Company. That's what a Patreon pledge can get you. But the second way to support the show is by subscribing and leaving a rating and review in iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're using at the time. Not only does it help the show climb up the charts in the arts design category, but it allows me to give you a public shout out and a thank you like this week's rating and review. And buckle in, this is a little bit longer one. This one's titled The Best Podcast Out. That's a bold claim. And this one's from Zach Sutt from the USA. Whew, here we go. Let me take a deep breath. I love this podcast. Scotty keeps me motivated to work harder and never quit. He has great content and awesome guests who have great advice. The Perspective Collective feels like a community. Hell yeah. That's why I love it. I stumbled across the podcast in October 2018 while I was walking from my car leaving the office. I had a rough day. I was burnt out and feeling like I was not a good designer. I was defeated. I usually listen to the Honest Designer podcast, but I wanted to find another podcast, and that's when it happened. I found the Perspective podcast. My first episode was 98 with Michael Fugoso. Shout out to Fug Schrader. This episode opened my eyes and made me realize that I was okay. Life happens. Pick yourself up and get back after it. After I listened to that episode 3 times, I was hooked no matter where I am. Gym, work, car. I have the Perspective Collective podcast on. It has become my go-to. The things I need that keep me going when I feel like I can't go on. As a designer, the information Scotty gives in his podcast is very helpful. I've learned things from the podcast that has helped me at my job, my freelance business, also health-wise. Scotty's created one of the best podcasts out. Check it out. You will be glad you did. Wow, that was a freaking mouthful, Zach. Holy shit, dude. You really put a lot of time, effort, and thought into it, and that means the world to me. If you're on the edge of leaving a review, you don't have to go as long as that, but man, if you do, go all out. I'll read the hell out of that, and it's much appreciated. Thank you so much, Zach. And as I sign off, I got to give a huge thank you to my executive assistant, Paige Garland, my video specialist, Colton Bacher, and my homeboy, Bluka, for all the dope theme music you hear on the show. And as you finish off your week strong, I want to encourage you to keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this. Thanks again for listening. It'd be awesome if you took the time to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let the comment below so we can connect. Again, if you want to catch a shout out as a future listener of the week, make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes and give it a rating and review.